global, interactive, real-time fishing mobile application by which two players can play against each other anywhere in the world. They play for fish coins to move up the leaderboard in their region to be able to win some prizes. Let's take a look. Whenever you go fishing, all you do is open up the Fishcoin app. Make sure you have enough fish coins in your Fishcoin wallet. If not, you can choose from any of the Fishcoin packages. Once you've done this, you can click on Active Map and search for any active players anywhere in the world. You can click on them to see their profile and stats. From here, you can send them a game request. Now all you need to do is set up the game. Choose how many fish coins you want to play for, then send request. This will notify the player with a sound, and that player can choose to accept or decline the game request. The player accepted, and now you have a 1 hour fishing competition between each other for the fish coin prize pot. When you catch a fish, take a picture of that fish, and this will give you a fish score in fish coins and a bonus for small, medium or large. The opponent will get a notification whenever a fish has been caught. All fish caught during the game are scored accordingly. The last 10 minutes of the game, all fish scores are worth double fish coins. At the end of the game, the player with the most fish coin score wins the prize pot. And can share it on any social media platform. Welcome to the new Fishcoin game. All right, g'day guys, welcome back to Fly Fish Live. Before we start, we want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. Hope you have an awesome day, and we're going to have an absolute ripper again today, I think. A couple of great games coming up. Let's take a look at the matchups and results after the first rounds. We saw yesterday such a great game between Peter Driver and Dave Coughlin, and also another ripper between Andrew, SLOAN and Sean Marr. Today, we have another cracker on our hands. We've got Mark SLOAN up against Tom O'Connor. So this one's going to be interesting, and looking forward to this one. So as we see right now, the table stands. We've got Mark Driver up against Peter Driver. That's going to be war on the north. That's going to be an absolute ripper next week. And we can see that Sean Marr will come up against the highest losing competitor. At the moment, Dave Coughlin's in the running for that. So the losing competitor is going to have to top 41 fish to knock Dave off that spot. But from today's two matches, the winners from today's two matches will play each other in the next round. So this is going to be really interesting. So stick around for the next match. We have Tom Beecher up against Danny Sizik from the USA, Tom from the Ireland. That's going to be another ripper straight after this match. So don't go anywhere. Grab a cold one and sit back and relax. And let's cross now. We have a special guest, a man that won a game yesterday, and his name is Peter Driver. So let's welcome Peter. Peter, mate, how are you?
How's it going, Josh? Hi, everybody.
Great to have you back on the show, mate. You recovered well from yesterday?
Yeah, did all right. Yeah, pretty tired yesterday evening after the match. You'd be quite surprised how wrecked you'd be after a 1 hour session. But just the whole build up and being on the river so early, and all the mental exhaustion really. But yeah, no, recovered grand. It was a great match. Watched it back last night. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right. We'll head straight down to the river now and meet the competitors. Let's head over to Tom O'Connor first. Are you there, Tom?
Hear us.
How's things down there, mate? From the commentary box down to the river.
Thanks for supporting me, and I'll do my best for all of it.
How's the weather and the river looking for you today?
The weather is treacherous. There's about a 40 miles an hour wind here, and the river is high, so it's going to be very difficult. But we'll see how it goes. And thanks to all my supporters.
Who do we have? Who do we have for your camera?
I've got my son Tommy.
His pride and joy.
Welcome, Tommy. All right.
Glad to be here.
We'll let you get off and get ready, Tom O'Connor, and we'll head over to Mark SLOAN in Northern Ireland. Are you there, Mark?
Yeah. Well.
G'day, mate. Well, how's things looking for you up in Northern Ireland? How's the weather and the river looking?
The weather's not too bad now. It got a bit of water yesterday. Stopped a good bit. The fish should be starting to go now, but sure, we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of fish in this bit. It's just getting them out of it. Sure.
Nice. Well, we'll get this game underway. We'll let you go off and get set up, ready to go. We'll be with you very shortly. Let's take a look at the sponsors for today's game. We have Piscari Fly, and we have Syndicate EU, Gib Flicks, and Meander Fly Co. So make sure you check out these guys. Go and check out their social media and their websites. There's some great gear there. You'll find everything you're looking for. We thank these sponsors to help push this game along. So another big thanks to the sponsors. Let's head back over to the competitors, and we'll get this game underway. Are you competitors? Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Ready.
All right. So what we'll do, I'll count down from 5, and then the siren will go, and away we go. Let's get this game going. Good luck to all competitors.
Sounds good.
Are we ready? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
With you.
All right, Pete. Who's your favourite for this one, Pete? Do you have a favourite?
It's going to be a hard one to call, Josh. Both anglers saying that conditions are difficult. Lots of water, lots of wind. Completely different day than yesterday. So this is going to be, I think, Tom said he was having difficulty in practice there, meeting some fish. I think Mark might, if Mark Sloan can get on him, I think Mark could come out on top here. All depends if Tom can just find a fish, but Tom is in very difficult conditions really today. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting one to play out.
We've got Dave O'Donovan saying both rivers are rising fast. This will be close.
Yeah, and it's difficult catching fish in a rising river. When the river levels off and starts to drop, that's when the brown trout will really turn on.
Tom fish in the net.
Tom fish in the net for Tom.
Good man, Tom. Tom's off the mark. That'll do his confidence. The world of good. And
we've got Mark Drivers jumped on. Good man, Tom. Best of luck, guys. Sean Mars jumped back on. Best of luck, lads.
Sean had a good win yesterday as well.
Yeah, that was a top game as well. And he had a lot of wind as well. Is it?
He did,
really,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
It looks like where Mark's fishing. He's got one on now.
Fishing the net for Mark.
Fish for Mark.
Mark's after it.
So where Mark's fishing, there's not a lot of flow. We saw yesterday that a lot of fish were caught where there was a lot more where the water was moving a lot faster. Would you suspect that Mark's going to get a few in this spot? It doesn't look like it's pushing very hard.
It doesn't. There's a wee bit of flow in it. It doesn't look like it's going fast in the camera, but it's steady enough wee flow in it. There's a lot of fish in it.
Okay.
We have found just from the water has come, the fish have sort of dropped out of the run.
Tom fish in the net.
Tom fish in the net.
So it's more it's the flatter water, the fish are actually going better in at the moment with us on this river. So
nice.
We'll see how he gets on.
The colour of the water, Peter, does that play a massive role in what bead head to use and all that sort of stuff?
Absolutely, Josh. And it can play an awful role in trout behaviour as well. If there's silk coming down in that colour, it takes there's less oxygen in the water, and it'll drive the trout deeper into the. Good man, Tom. Tom's getting off to a great start here. So, if there's less oxygen in the water, the trout will go deeper to get the cleaner water. But you know what? An awful lot I've found about colour and water, it tends not to be the full way through the water column. Might be only the top 2 foot or top foot or whatever it may be, the depth of the river. So, but it can play a huge factor. But then, it can be an advantage to the angler too, because fish, they're not as easily spooked, or they don't see it quite as well if there's a little bit of a colour on it. But in relation to bead colour and stuff, yeah, it does. It will have a bear on what bead choice you'd make. I find black to be a very good. Some people find orange stuff, but I find black to be a very good colour in coloured water. Tom's in again there, I think, is he?
Looks like it.
Hold on, no. Yeah, Tom fish in the net.
Fish in net for Tom. Absolute flyer now. I did a little.
Yes, that's it.
Sorry, you go, mate.
Go on ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I did a little count of total fish caught so far after the 3 games, and we have 221 trout caught up until the start of this match. And
that's 3 games. How many games left to go in this round?
This round, there's 2 games today. So after the first round, we'll see a figure. I reckon we'll be pushing 300.
There you go.
By the
Fantastic
way it's
fishing. Fantastic fishing from everybody. And conditions aren't ideal. I know we had a pretty half decent yesterday, but I think the conditions going into next weekend are going to be difficult as well. There's a lot of rain coming into Ireland or all across the country this week and stuff like that. So we're going to see difficult conditions again next week, but hopefully the rivers will play ball and we'll have a couple of more crackers. But Thomas started well here.
Yes.
Hopefully Mark can find a bit of a run of fish here along these glides and keep with Tom,
It could change very quickly, just like yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen it. Yeah, absolutely. How quickly. Again, two top class anglers here. They get in on a run of fish. They won't be long getting them out of it. Like,
I think in your match, Dave Coughlin was like 7 or 8 fish down and come back to get in front there.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As a competitor, knowing that Dave hit the lead after being come back from behind, did that start to play in your head as a competitor?
Trying to no. Just go through the motions, keep going through the plan, and I knew I was coming. I knew I had more water coming. And just ride it out. Everyone, like, no matter what match you fish, a 3-hour session, a 1-hour session, or a full day competition, there's always going to be lulls. You're going to have purple patches. Everyone's going to have a purple patch, But at the end of the day, the only score that counts is the score at the end of the hour. So, you're expecting, when you're fishing against the likes of Tom O'Connor, Dave Donovan, Mark Driver, Dave Coughlin, Sean Maher, any of these guys, the SLOAN brothers up north, they're always going to come at you. They're always going to be in with a shout. There's never going to be much between it. They're always going to take lead. You're always going to go behind at some stage. That's where, having your plan set out well in your head and execute it as best you can. In that plan is obviously the water you've chosen, that you have enough water for the hour, as best as you can. Choose water to facilitate that. Like,
we head over to if we can head over to Mark's camera. Is he changing flies there, Andrew, or?
Yeah, he's just making a wee change here, just to see. There's quite a lot of fish in that wee section. He's in there, but he's just come across one. So he's just chopping and changing a wee bit here just to see.
What sort of setup has he got? Is he running 2 nymphs or?
Just the usual. It's just 2 nymphs, 3 mil and a 2.8, I think, is what he's fishing. It's not that deep. You can see where he's standing there. It's only sort of knee deep there at the minute. So it comes up, shallows up a wee bit where he comes up in above here.
And if we see Tom O'Connor there behind the trees.
How's the view? Is it all right?
Yeah. I don't know if you can get him more into the camera in case he catches a fish.
Traverse this terrain.
He's picked a great spot for you. Absolute ripper. Do you know what Tom's setup is? Is he got 2 nymphs or?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I apologise.
I'd say so. Knowing Tom, he's Euro style there.
Fishing the net for Mark.
Fish for Mark.
Tom would be
for Mark, yeah.
There, and he'd have 2 nymphs on, I'd say. He's just rolling them through the margins there. He's in a nice spot there. A little bit of tree cover, it seems to be kind of not as fast from what I can see where he's standing, and the main current, and I know that beat, I think I fished that beat where Tom is, the main current would be out towards the middle and to the far bank, so a little bit of protection there where some of those fish might move in out of that heavy water that's coming down. The whole thing about when you're fishing in coloured water, fish won't travel for your nymph. You've got to hit him on the nose with it. So work rate for Tom today is going to get him over the line. He's in the hour, his arms got thumping after it from throwing so many casts and working so much water. He's got the fish will snap at it if he puts it on their nose, but they might travel for the nymph. They won't see it. So work rate for Tom is a big thing here today.
So you got to cover.
And will it be the same with Mark? Yeah. Hit him on the nose and they'll snap out of pure aggression.
Does that mean you'd aim to sit at that one spot for a little bit longer than usual if the water was a bit clearer, and just make sure you cover every single spot, or you just keep moving?
Oh, just keep moving. Just keep moving. Unless there's a clearly identifiable mark in the river where there's a stone or an island or something there, or a gully where fish might sit. But in generic kind of even water like Tom would be in, it's just cast, step, up, down, in, back, out.
10 minutes.
And just try and find him.
Yeah, so 10 minutes gone, and the score is 4-2. Tom is up.
Fishing the net for Mark.
Fish from Mark.
Marcus Clon is back to.
David Donovan called this one. He reckons it's going to be a very close one.
I think it will. I think, and because it won't be, if they're close going into the last 10 minutes, one fish could, if you're one or two fish ahead or one or two fish behind, I think if someone gets 7 or 8 fish ahead in a match like this, it could be over fairly with 10 minutes to go. But if it's anyway close at all, one fish is going to be so valuable. Like in a day like today, you can't be as sloppy as I was yesterday at times, dropping lots of fish, because you got to mind them. Every one a fish here is literally potentially a match winner.
That's the thing. Like we sit here watching as viewers, but we have no idea how many fish that you guys actually touch or drop.
I'd say yesterday I touched a fish on 95% of my casts yesterday.
So that score could have been very, very high. Yeah.
It is, but that's fishing when the fish are on and you're fishing in a prime location where all the fish are there and they're there in front of you. You're going to touch them. They could be small, little tiny fish, or and with the wind, you don't get the great connection you'd normally get with your nymphs through tight line and stuff like that. It could be a little bit slack there, and you just might be that micro fraction of a second slower setting the hook.
Tom fishing the net.
And
fishing the net.
And you just don't connect the hook with the fish as cleanly as you like, and you just bump off. That happens, But when you're fishing again in 1 hour, and that your numbers are going to be high, you just got to go for it, and just you're going to lose some, you're going to drop them, but you just keep motoring, because you got to try and get as many in the hours you can. So you run, you just run that gauntlet of bullying fish, that's you're always going to miss them and drop them when you're not taking your time.
Let's have a quick chat about like beat management. If you come to water, just for someone that's just getting into fly fishing or competitive fly fishing, what's your first? What's the first thing you look at, or where you would start in your beat management before you start your match?
So the first thing I'd be kind of, Mark's into a nice fish there, is he? Yeah, lovely fish. Yeah.
Okay.
We cross down to Mark's camera.
Yeah. I know there's some really good fish. Well done, Mark. There's some really quality fish up in the north of Ireland. Well done.
How big would that one have been, Andrew?
I was about 13.5, 14 inches. It was in around the pound mark.
Lovely wild Irish brown trout. Yeah.
We're fortunate enough, as Peter was saying, we have a lot of good fish in some of our rivers, so we come across the odd big one now and again.
The odd one. From some of the pictures I've seen, it's more than that one now. It's more than that one. The boys are some machines to catch good trout. But there is, the north of Ireland boasts some of the most fantastic wild brown trout rivers in the country. Everyone talks about the North Shore, the Blackwater, these rivers. The rivers that are up in the north of Ireland are just exceptional. I've been up there, lucky enough to get up there a few times, and anyone traveling to Ireland to do a bit of fly fishing, it's got to be on the itinerary, like to get up to the north, some of them beautiful rivers and fantastic fishing up there.
The 15 minutes gone. It's 5-4. Tom's up. So if we're looking at Mark's spot where he's fishing, would the fish be sitting under those trees? Is that what you're looking to try and do in a river like that, or?
You'd imagine so. Yeah, you'd imagine so.
Pictures. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
You go, mate. You go, Andrew.
I know it's looking pictures here. There's a stone also in front of them here, the lion behind, and then there's also like a wee small river comes in as well, so you'll get them landing around that as well too.
Owen Haggerty, best of luck, lads.
it's a great opportunity, competitions like this, to showcase the variety of rivers and the variety of fishing we have here in Ireland. You know, it's fantastic for people outside the country to get an insight into, you know, the sheer beauty and the fantastic quality fishing we have here, and it's all wild fishing. You know, we've no stocked rivers here in Ireland.
Good fish. It's a good fish.
Tom?
That's a
Tom's
good
on a good
fish.
trout there now.
Whoa! Oh, Jesus! Yeah, fish in the net, Tom. Fish in the net.
Fishing
Tom,
Tom,
come
that's a
in.
cracker.
Well done, Tom.
6-4.
Oh, the gorgeous trout.
We saw yesterday both matches got off to a bit of a flyer, and this one started a little bit slower with the numbers.
It's
But
steady though. It's steady fishing. You know, they're both getting a few fish, and they'll settle. The boat seem to have settled in quite well. No dropped fish yet. It looks. It's going to be an interesting hour.
So when you go into your match, do you have a mindset that you already know
In the net.
Tom fish in the net?
And Tom,
Do you already know what you're going to do, or do you, for the first 5 minutes, play around and try a couple of different things in the river and then set yourself?
nah, you know what? In the first 5 minutes, for me anyway, and I was speaking on my own personal experience, it's crucial. I've got a spot where there's a fairly good chance within the first 5 minutes you're going to have at least one, if not 3 or 4 fish. To get after that good flyer, you know, get after that settler. I knew Dave Cochran was going to start strong yesterday, so I knew I had to pick a spot where I was going to get a couple of steady, you know, a good steady stream of fish early to to get your confidence to settle in, you know. So I think after that, once you kind of pick the spot and get through that spot, and hope it settles you, well, then you can kind of play around a little bit with your plan and see what sort of seams you're going to walk up and see if you can get on a line of fish and keep on them. But I think for the first 5 minutes, steady the ship, don't do anything stupid.
Tom's fishing the net.
Man,
Tom fish in the net.
Start somewhere clean, like don't start in the middle of a bunch of trees or something, because more than likely it's happened to me more times than it is, you know, you stick an nymph in a tree or something like that and it could just knock you off for 10 or 15 minutes. So, you know, pick a nice clean spot to start, check the footing under on your ground, so you're not going to, there's no trip ups or holes there, stuff like that. Little things like that, tiny little details like that can make a huge difference to how you start your match.
We've got Colleen O'Connor, go team Tom.
Tom's
Tom
wife
fish
is
in the
on
net.
there, Colleen.
That's a fine
Well,
fish.
Tom.
Fish in the net.
Yeah, Tom's picking up a little bit of pace here. Seems to have found a seam of fish, so he could be.
Looks like Andrew. Is Mark Andrew there? Is Mark changing flies again, or?
Yeah, he's making another change here, so a few fish land just up in behind that bush where he is there. I know there's fish in there, so the few cast there now. He's gonna make a wee change and see how he gets on.
Any fish rising there, Andrew? No, and them kind of glides at the moment.
There's a few fish starting to pick. There's one actually is just up in where we're talking about there. So
I think with such a low number, or, you know, maybe not expecting great big numbers, because it would have been Mark's. Have his thought about dry fly fishing?
I give it a bit of thought, but it's not. They're sort of midgy. It's all sort of midgy sort of fishing, you know.
Right.
It can work for, well, you know yourself. It can work for your account, like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There's.
So green over there in Ireland.
Yeah, we have a lot of green, right? Sure is.
Andrew, how's Mark been going in his practice? Do you know?
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net.
Yeah, he was practicing along with me, you know. So we're going right and well.
We'll do.
It was steady fishing.
Sorry, what time are we on now?
We have there's just under 40 minutes to go, and the score is 10-4. Tom's up.
Okay, 40 minutes. 40 minutes left.
Does that hour, as you're fishing, Pete, does that hour go very quickly for a competitor while they're out there?
It does. It does if you're putting yourself under pressure. You know, it does. Like some people say, it goes very quickly, and it does. But when you sit, when you sit down and think back, or when I watched back last night, I'd be quite surprised how long the hour goes, and you'd be quite surprised. And I think it'll happen at some stage when one angler hits a piece of river and it's absolutely electric and everything sticks from. And what's the possible number in an hour session? If the river's on, I know on the River Nor, like the river I was fishing yesterday, if a lot of those fish had stuck for me, geez, put a number on it. Like put a number on it. It's it can if it can potentially produce, because you can make so many casts in an hour, because in some of the Irish rivers are prolific, like the hour can go fast, but if you kind of just mentally slow it down, keep an eye on things, and focus, don't get into too much trouble, well then you have lots of time there to catch a lot of fish.
Do you ever think that the triple figure would ever come?
Jesus, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I definitely wouldn't say it's impossible, Josh. I said, all the fish I hit yesterday, you're not going to get them all. You're always going to drop something at that kind of volume and that kind of pace you're fishing at. You're moving so fast. You're cutting your casts short. Or
Tom fishing the net.
Tom is in again there. It'd be phenomenal to see someone to do it. It would absolutely be electric. Like they'd want nothing to go wrong. Nearly you throw over 100 casts an hour, so the potential is absolutely there. I don't know how many casts I would throw in an hour. It'd be interesting to get that statistic. We could go back, I suppose, and count them all. But definitely throw 100 casts. So is the potential there to catch fish in every cast?
10.
No. The time, we have 37 and a half minutes to go, and the score is 11-4. Tom's up.
11-4.
Tom is tipping away nicely here. He's nice and consistent. I'd like to see Mark get a few more fish now and keep in touch.
Get down into the bottom. Down to set.
Looks like he's on the move. We got Miles Riley come on and says, any chance of a dry fly competition in the future? What do you think of that one?
Well, everyone will depend on conditions. See, one thing about doing a Pacific competition on a Pacific method is the conditions. You see, unfortunately for Mark and Andrew, they're coming to this competition. The rivers aren't right for them. I think listening to Mark or Andrew yesterday, he said he was on his third choice river. So that's so unfortunate. I know the caliber of those two anglers up there. They're world class anglers, really competitive. They were in with a real. They were going to do well in this tournament this year. We were expecting big things, big numbers from them. So it's a shame the rivers didn't fish. So doing a dry fly thing, yeah, it'd be interesting, but conditions would play a huge factor. If the fish don't rise, nothing you can do about it.
What's your thoughts on even a shorter version of this game, a 30-minute match?
Yeah, we've spoke about that before, and it'd be interesting. It'd certainly be interesting. 30 minutes is a very short space of time. Very short space of time. I don't know. I like the 1 hour. I do like the 1 hour. It just gives you that enough time to make a change. In a 30-minute one, you've no time for nothing. If the rivers are on. So 1 hour, I think, is just. I like the 1 hour format. It's gives you options. You've still got an option there if you're fishing a particular piece of water and it's not on, you can get out. As we've seen, Corey in the first games last year, the amount of water he could travel in 1 hour was astonishing. So with a half an hour session, you won't have that luxury. You got to just pick your spot. And that's it.
And I suppose in the 1 hour, you've got that knowledge that you've got a little bit of time up your sleeve if you need it, if you get five fish down or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah. If someone in a half an hour session, if a competitor got into a hot spot under a weir or a run, the game could be over in the first 10 minutes. If the other guy is, doesn't have that and he has to go searching larger amounts of water.
We've got
Go on.
But Mark Driver said, how about a 2-man session? One partner fishes for 30 minutes and 2-minute buffer to change up, and like a tag team game.
That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Tag team match. I think, you know what, maybe when this whole thing is over, Josh, we might do a little tester of that. Maybe the drivers might take on somebody. Maybe the drivers might challenge the Sloans. Give the Sloans another crack at it.
That sounds like a plan.
You down for that? Drivers might take on the Sloans there in a little match somewhere along the way. Bit of crack. Always good to have a bit of fun at this game.
Great idea, Mark. Sean's come on and said there has been talk of team games, and I do think that we need to give this one a bit of
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net.
And Tom.
Get an exhibition match of it and get the feel of a team game. Dave O'Donovan, I'll take you on by myself.
Dave has a bit of time to rest up now to the next series. Dave was knocked out yesterday, and that's a big thing. You know, I was thinking yesterday that thank God Dave was knocked out because he's a real danger man. But Dave has a bit of rest time now, so he can plan for that.
Bang! Did you?
The score is 12-4, and we have 32 and a half minutes to go. And Tom is up.
With how many minutes, sorry?
32 and a half minutes. Just over
Perfect.
30 minutes.
Lovely.
Tom has to be really happy going so far after his practicing. Tom's practice, he was saying he only met 3 fish in 45 minutes, so he must be delighted with being able to get 12 in the first 25 minutes here.
How do you think Mark will be feeling in his head now? Would he be starting to worry, or would he, just keep plugging away?
Hard to say, really. Mark's a cool kind of customer, really good angler. He knows the competition game. He'll be searching. If he can get a pocket of fish, and as Andrew was saying to us, there's lots of fish there. If he can just find a pocket of those fish, he can rattle out 3, 4 very quickly, and then it becomes a different match, So, but he needs to find that pocket. Tom picks up another 2 or 3 in the next 5 or 6 minutes, and it's starting to look a bit ominous for Mark, so he needs to find that pocket of fish and get some scores on the board here.
Well,
Mark Driver, you might have a calf to team up by then, Davey boy.
Mark's on the move here now. That's good. It's not working for a move.
How far do you give it? Like if you want a complete change, do you give it like 50 meters, 20 meters, 100 meters?
Depends on the water, Josh. Depends on the water. Depends on the location where you're fishing. There might be another break in the water or something.
Oh, Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net.
There could be a break in the water 50 meters up, 100 meters up. There could be another run. So it all depends on the location.
Another fish there for Tom.
I'm fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. Tom's starting to find them now.
He's getting back into that rhythm he was there earlier on.
Would you ever go back to where you started, Pete, if you caught a couple of fish early?
Absolutely, yeah. You see David Coughlin yesterday. Saw Mark Driver go back into some water he previously fished, paid off. So if there's a honey hole there, there's a good chance that you might have left some behind, or you might have burnt it out completely. So absolutely. For me personally, ideally, if you're looking for large numbers, you got to keep moving into virgin water. But if you have to, you double back. If you found a pot of
Half an hour left. You're dead
you could take another couple over.
Get a tight drop far side. Pull down, push it
We're
on.
just past halfway, guys, and it's 14-4.
40 minutes. 40 minutes left.
Another one on there.
Yeah,
Tom looks to be into another good fish, is he?
fine fish. Not quite. Gone.
Lost him, did he?
Yes, unfortunately.
That happens. You just put it out of your head and get them nymphs back in the water and get the next one.
That's it, yeah.
We see Tom there. He's got his net in his hand the whole time, and just flicking around. Is that's the way you need to fish in this sort of a match? Always holding the net in hand.
Yes and no. Everyone has their own preference.
Fish in the net.
Fish for Mark.
Fish in the net for Mark.
Mark got one there now. Hopefully Mark can get into a run of them here now and put a bit of pressure on the cork bite.
Mm-hmm.
But you see me yesterday, I was fierce confused. I was messing around with my net before the match yesterday and over the last couple of days, and I had kind of three options: carry it in the hand, put it up on my back, or put it under my armpit. And I don't think I made up my mind throughout the entire hour what I was going to do with my net, so it caused me a few problems. So it's every angler's own preference. And again, if you're short lining, maybe Tom is short lining because there's colour in the water, he doesn't need to cast that far. He can set his rig at a certain distance, so he can keep the hand in the net because he's never extending. He can just walk closer to wherever he wants to fish rather than cast further away. So his right hand just fishes, his left hand just nets. And in that situation, yes,
Tom
he can
fishing the net.
do exactly what he's doing there. And
Did you get that one?
oh
Yeah, we got that one, mate.
yeah,
Don't.
She Brews has jumped on and says hello. Well, welcome back, She Brews.
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. A couple of quick ones by Tom.
yeah.
Be good to see Mark. Get onto a 3 or 4 quick.
Yeah,
ones.
such a shame. The conditions just impacted the boys so badly up there this week. Such a shame. It's you'd like to see them in their full potential. You'd like to see that the rivers fish well and the ability of the two anglers that are up there. But that's these matches. That's what happens. You just got to take it on the chin. If the conditions don't play the game for you, well then nothing you can do. I think we can see, we'll see a lot of tougher conditions next weekend again down here, especially on the Nore. It's going to be a big river next weekend. Big river.
We got Greg Crook. Keep it going, Tom. Yeah, you guys are going to be fighting for spots next week, I suppose.
We've kind of got our own spots picked. 1 or 2 each, and we'll stay away from each other's spot. We won't interfere with it anyway. So we'll both fish the same river. If we decide not to fish the Nore, both of us won't fish the Nore, and we'll both fish the Nore anyway. But if Nore's too big and we decide to move, well then we'll both move together. We'll keep it as level playing field as possible. We'll practice together. We're going out Wednesday to practice, and on the day then it'll be just whoever's got the best luck and the best man will win on the day.
Definitely going to be an interesting match.
It will.
So we've got 25 minutes to go, guys. Score is 16-15. Tom's favour.
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. He's slowly pulling away further at the minute, but
yeah, there's still time for Mark. There's still time for Mark. There's still time.
How how long would you give this spot as a competitor? Would you stick around where he is now for a bit longer, or would you try and move again? Or
hard to tell. Again, as I always say, you know, the most important thing when you approach a piece of river or you're in a competition is always be putting your flies where the fish are, where there's fish, where you have the highest belief that there's fish. And after that, then it's up to the fish to take the fly. You can do, you know, you can only do so much. Like, there is a certain amount that's up to the fish. So if you're fishing over fish, well, then you're in the right spot. Like, you know, that's basically it. If you're fishing there, there's no fish there, well, then move, get out there. But as Andrew said, there's lots of fish in that area, and it's just unfortunate not switching on for Mark today. You know, but sometimes you don't have options. You have to stay there and just grind it out, because
We don't know.
Tom is into another decent fisher, I think, by the looks of it.
The fine fish. Yeah, fish in the net.
there,
Tom,
yeah.
fish in the net.
fish in the net for Tom. She Breeze. How long the matches go for? They're 1 hour, 60-minute games, She Breeze. And in, if you put it this way, we've had 3 hours of fishing so far and 221 trout caught. that's pretty crazy to say that.
That's pretty good. I think Mark's in the fisher. Good man, Mark.
Mark's in.
Well done. Come on, Mark. It's going to be an interesting match this afternoon. Now, Danny Siskis he's a dark horse here. We're all waiting to see what he's capable of. Tom Beecher as well. I think Tom had a bit of rain down there last night and the last couple of days, so it'll be an interesting match this afternoon now as well, between Tom Beecher and our USA competitor.
Yeah, Dan, I've had a few messages from Danny. He's been doing a lot of practice, and he says he's ready. He says
All
he's
right.
ready to go. Game on, he said. So it will be interesting.
Surely will, yeah.
And message from Tom this morning is 40-mile-an-hour wind, and
Yeah.
he's unsure if he'll get
Yeah,
blown
conditions
away.
got very tough here today. Now, even here in Kilkenny, like, I wouldn't like to fish in my match today. We were lucky yesterday. You know, forecast all week was we were to get a lot of wind and rain on Saturday. Didn't turn out that way. We got some in the morning, but lucky enough for the match, the sun came out, the wind dibbled a little bit.
Tom, fish in the net.
Tom fishing that.
Tom's up again.
What's the timer now, lads?
The time to go, we have just under 22 minutes to go.
I'll tell him at 20. I don't want to say his name.
You've always got to tell Tom to be early. Tom has I've done a lot of traveling with Tom over the years, and we've got some great yarns. If we had another couple of hours here, Josh, I could tell you a couple of right yarns about Tom. But one thing you'd always want to do is tell Tom to be half an hour early. So if you're leaving at 8, tell Tom we're going at 7:30.
It sounds like my old man. I usually have to tell him 1 hour early.
But that's where I get it from as well.
All right.
At least I know.
And Pete, if we've got Jill Sloan, come on, Mark, come on, Uncle Mark. If say Tom Beecher knows he's got a really
20
windy
minutes.
really windy time coming up.
8:13.
If you
13
have
or 14, he's
two
ahead.
rivers
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. If you had two rivers picked out, would you go to the one that had the most trees and shelter, or it wouldn't really matter?
Yeah, if you have two rivers picked out, absolutely look for the shelter. Wind is sometimes it can affect the fish. Depends on the wind. If it's a northerly wind, it'll put the trout down. If it's southerly wind, the fish can, they don't mind that as much. But if you've got wind and you're running, especially with light rigs that we're using now, 0.08 diameter, 0.10 tippet and stuff like that, 2-weight rods, you will struggle. You'll struggle to set the hooks. You'll struggle to see indications, sensitive contact. All those issues become a problem. Yesterday I knew there was going to be wind, so I upped the diameter of my tapered my leaders and stuff, and my tippet just to combat that, like to give me a little bit more.
Tom fish in the net.
A little bit more stiffness there in my setup, so I wouldn't be as affected as much by the wind. But you obviously sacrifice a little bit of sensitivity there. But yeah, you go. Look, when I was yesterday picking my spot, I managed to, we'd cross the river and fish from the far bank. I hadn't planned to fish from the far bank. I planned to fish from the nearer bank, and we chose over there because the wind was at my back.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Fish in the net for Mark.
Fish for Mark. Let's hope that's a bit of a start for a nice little quick pat.
Yeah, 19 minutes left. Yeah, 14
19 minutes left.
Did we see a kayaker come down your river yesterday?
Yeah, we had a kayaker just literally at the dying seconds. You get a lot of kayakers on the rivers ever since COVID. People, they're looking for things to do. So kayaking has become a big thing on the River Nore here over the last 2 or 3 years. It's a frequent
Does it
occurrence.
stir the fish up?
It does a little bit, but I don't mind it. It's a bit annoying if you don't, have any kind of. It can be a little bit annoying if you don't have any kind of. What would best way of putting it?
Tom fish in the net.
Man,
Fish in the net.
Sometimes there can be inexperienced kayakers come down the river, and I've had a few occasions where it's been quite dangerous actually. If you're heavy wading and you can't get out there in time,
Pauline O'Connor, fishing well in harsh conditions, fair play.
Yeah, so you can't really see it as much in the camera, but they are extremely different conditions. Rivers are high coloured. You can see the trees there in front of Mark. They're bent quite a lot, so there's a very strong wind there.
Looks like Mark's having another little change.
Yeah. And it can make everything so difficult, that wind. Making a change, casting, everything just blowing all over the place. It can be it can be frustrating.
We saw your match yesterday, Dave Coughlin. He made a couple of changes, but as soon as he made that change, he picked up 3 or 4 fish within like 5 casts. So
yeah,
it can be crucial, can't it? And picking the
time. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and then a lot of those changes are calculated too. You know when you're going to change. You know when you're going to switch a rod or switch a rig or switch a bead size or colour.
Tom fish in the net.
Tom fish in the net. Is there a time that you would not change, as in time left in the game, and you want to change, but if you had like 3 or 4 minutes to go and you're 2 fish away, 2 fish down, would you make a change, or would you just stick at it with what you got?
Absolutely, I'd make that change. If I think you're going to make a change, like I always say to people during masterclass or coaching and stuff like that, if you make a change, it's got to be, you got to have a rationality behind that decision. And if you spot something or you think that making that change is going to increase your chances of catching those 2 fish, if you just stick at it, don't do it, and you don't catch them, if you make that change and it works for you, I say as long as it's calculated, as long as they have rationale there for doing it, absolutely. I'd make a change with 2 minutes to go if I think that change is going to get me over the line.
Going around the bend again. Down.
So we've got 15 and a half minutes to go, guys. The score is 23-7. With a river like Mark's fishing at the moment, with all that weed beds and stuff, do the fish tend to sit under those weed beds, or they sit outside the weed beds?
Yeah, you can. You can sit in under them and down at the tail ends of them. No, they can. Yeah, it's a good spot for them to lie and hide. Gives them a bit of protection there as well from predators and things like that. So it will get, and it offers great food source.
Tom fish in the net.
Tom fish in the net. It also looked like Mark had one on too, but
I lost it, dropped it.
in that case, looking at that weed bed that Mark's got there in the middle of the river, would you walk through it and try and get the fish out of it, or?
It can work sometimes. Absolutely, it can work. You walk through that, stir up some of them little nymphs and things that are stuck to it, and get them floating on the river. It can, it can certainly work sometimes. I know, definitely for grayling fishing, it gets them going. Mark is in here. That's gone, unfortunately. Mark, fly fishing now, Andrew, is he?
He switched, put on a couple of spiders there, so he kept two fairly
unfortunately,
quick
that's one of the disadvantages of wet fly fishing is bumping off on fish.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Dave O'Donovan, is Mark on spiders?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's great to see him because, so many competition anglers now, are one-trick ponies. You're on nymph and you're on nymph and you're on nymph. We seen last year in our competition here in Thomastown, the value of being able to spider fish and wet fly fish effectively. Every competition angler, is there any young aspiring competition anglers watching this? You've got to be able to do it all. You've got to be able to dry fly. Man, Tom.
I'm fishing there.
You've got to be able to dry fly as good as you can nymph, and you've got to be able to wet fly. I wouldn't go to any tournament without a box of spiders in my pocket or a box of wets. And most high-end competition anglers I know are the very same. And if they come on, it'd be very difficult for a nymph or a dry fly man to beat wet flies when they're on.
We've got, as you can see on the screen now, we've got coming up next, we've got Danny Sizik up against Tom Beecher. So make sure you stick around for that one. It's going to be an absolute belter. There's not a lot of people know much about Danny Sizik. So it's going to be very interesting.
There's not a lot of people know a lot about Tom Beecher. We know Tom over here well. Tom's a fantastic angler. He was in Italy, Sir Josh. He was in Italy on the world team with us in Italy. Tom gets going. I tell you now, it'll take a fair man to keep up to him. And if the Bride River is fishing at all, there's a lot of. I fished a few All Irelands down there, and it has the potential to throw up a few big numbers. Tom won't give it away easy. I tell you, if Danny wants to win it, he's going to have to beat him.
Do you know the area that Tom Beecher might be fishing?
I'm not 100% sure of the beat he's fishing. I think he's on the Bride. I think he's heading towards the Bride, which is home river, and he knows that so well. And I say it has a ton of fish in it. Like, so, small river will have a lot of cover on it. Doesn't fish too bad, and there's a drop of water coming through it either. So he'll know it well. He'll have his home. He'll be ready for it. It'll be interesting.
We've got Jonas Olsen.
I'm fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. We've got Jonas Olsen. He's over there in Sweden, I think. Danny got some pro tips. He's going to do great. He's obviously been chatting to him, I think.
Good stuff. What time is that match coming up at, Josh?
That match is 3:30 p.m. Irish time. So there'll be a short break after this match.
Very good.
And then we'll be back 3:30 p.m. Irish time.
Good stuff.
And if anyone's over there in the USA supporting Danny and watching, it's going to be 10:30 in the morning for him. So we just got over 10 minutes to go, guys. I think now Mark's got his time not on his side at the minute now.
Time is against Mark now here. It looks like Tom O'Connor's done enough here, I'd say, already. Dave Coughlin will be happy with that too. He keeps him in that highest loser position. So Tom O'Connor, I'd say, goes through to the next round, and he did well. He did well. It's tough conditions there. Practice wasn't going his way, so I'd say he'll be very happy with a score of 26. Fantastic fishing in those conditions.
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net. Looks like Mark's on as well.
Mark's on too. Not a good fish.
Looks like a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
made sure of that one.
Yeah, well done, Mark.
Fishing the net,
Mark.
Mark. Yeah.
Danny's actually jumped on Twitch, and he said been talking to Lance Egan and Devon Olsen as well.
Oh, man.
Greg Crook going well. Tom, tough conditions for both guys, and Declan Noonan. Well done, Tom. Keep it going. If you were Tom now, in this position, and you know there's not too much time left, would you still keep going 100%?
Absolutely.
Yeah, dropped it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And on to the net.
He's a bit unlucky. He's had like 3 or 4 that we could see
That's
that
unfortunate.
didn't stick.
Wet flies, unfortunately, it's the one disadvantage about wet fly fishing. You know, your fish are automatically down below you every time when you hook them up, and you know it's one of those things.
Yeah, man.
No, but Tom's got some big matches
Keep
coming
going,
up, so you want to push
keep
himself for the
hammering
hour.
through there.
And,
Keep getting them.
you know, get himself up to game speed. We'll have another big match next week, and you know, you want to fish at that intensity for as long as you can to be.
Jesus. The weather has took a turn for the worse. Oh.
Complete different
Yeah,
conditions,
gee,
it looks
yeah,
like.
yeah.
We've got 7 minutes left, guys.
7 minutes, Mark.
Looks like Mark's having another change, is he?
No, he's just
Right,
making his
and
way
that-
down
and
the
that
river.
way.
Fishing there.
Something fish.
Yeah. Fish for Mark.
Fish for Mark.
Yeah.
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing
Got
the
her
net.
on there. Can Tom hit the 30 mark? That'd be a great score in those conditions.
Katie O'Sullivan doing great, Tom. Katie and Tom. Yeah, in these conditions, ideal conditions, you'd expect a lot higher numbers, or
Yeah, the Blackwater, obviously, the Blackwater, I know that river fairly well, more so than I know where Mark is fishing. But the Blackwater can produce some big numbers if ideal conditions. Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure there's plenty of rivers up there. Mark and Andrew had shows that are just unfishable. Pushed anyone to a high score.
so there's 5 minutes to go. Do you think Tom will overtake Dave O'Donovan's score? You reckon he'll?
That'd give him serious bragging rights if he did too, you know. Little things like that. He could, you know, if he gets on what score Dave got 32, was it?
Yeah, 32.
Yeah, Tom's on 28. He's got another 4 fish. He's got four and a half minutes there to do it, so that's not impossible. Tom would be quite happy to do that now, I say.
In Mark, you'd keep pushing yourself to like go to the full hour, and like if you needed the score, would you
4.
keep pushing? What was that? Was that a fish?
Just
No.
I think shouting to him, no fish. What was that, Josh?
So in Mark's position now, with 5 minutes to go, you just keep pushing, even if you think that you're out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You want to get as many on the board regardless. And that score certainly does Mark Sloan no justice whatsoever. I seen them boys in Thomastown last year when we had a catch-all competition due to COVID restrictions, and they got the silver medal. They were leading on the Saturday with phenomenal bags of fish. But absolutely, as a competitive angler, you want to put the scores on the board, even if you're 30, 40 fish down. They still try clock up one more. It's always, that's a saying of us, just get one more. No matter what, just get one more. You know, you want to put as many scores on the board and try and do yourself justice and do your best no matter what. He'll be disappointed, and I'm disappointed for him myself, but that's the nature of this tournament. You got to fish the conditions are given, and
Is that a good fish there, Andrew?
Get him in the net, Mark. Yeah. No, a good one. On you go, Mark. It's good one. Fish in the net for Mark.
come on, Mark.
Cracking fish.
Double figures. Got
They're all competitive anglers. Tom is in again.
Tom
Keep
fishing
it going,
there.
Mark.
Yep.
Keep going.
They're all very competitive anglers in these games, and you know you learn from your losses. Like God knows, I've had enough of them, blanks in championships and worlds and Europeans and all Irelands and stuff like that. But you learn, you know, you take it, you're disappointed, absolutely, but you get over and use it as a learning experience, because it's always a learning experience every day you go out. So I'm sure we'll see Mark and Andrew back in these matches again very soon, and you know you get a lot of learning from this 1 hour kind of match situation.
We've got Miles Riley here. What's the most you guys have caught or heard in 1 hour? 1 hour fishing. What's the most that you've heard someone get?
Heard, I suppose that guy that won it last year, wasn't it?
Yes, Suntry. I think he got 60, I'd say, 2 or 3.
Something like that, yeah. The most I've had in 1 hour is 56.
Almost a fish a minute. All right,
Dave,
so a minute
Dave
and a half to
Donovan,
go.
someone. Tom O'Connor was saying in his practice he had a 64, I think, did he?
Yeah, I think he did actually.
Yeah.
He wanted to try and keep it quiet, but
Sorry about the distance, no, lads. My legs are gone.
All right, last minute, guys.
Class.
1 minute, Mark. Last minute.
Can you get 2 more? Leave Mark and Tom's definitely making him work on the camera.
Yeah.
Great to see these camera guys doing such a great job too.
It is fair play to the lads. I know Mark did me yesterday, and I think Dave will come up and do my match next week. So it's great to have lads that'll come and do it for you, you know.
Last 15 seconds, guys. I think Jag one more.
Tom fishing the net.
Tom fishing the net.
That's Tom.
Tom made the
He
third.
gets the 30.
Right,
That's it, Mark.
Time.
that's
Mark. That's it.
time over. That's game over.
Well done, boys.
Wow, that was
Well,
unlucky for
didn't
Mark.
expect. At the start of the match, I kind of tipped Mark Sloan. I think preferred Mark's water, and the conditions Mark was in after talking to Tom about his practice. But well done, Tom O'Connor. Hats off. Top class angling. Really, really difficult conditions for both anglers. And to get 30 fish in those conditions, that's putting himself in a very confident position there now. He was confident coming in practice. He's put, down a marker there now for everyone to watch out for Tom O'Connor.
Yeah, and Mark was actually going in with the polls that we put up on social media.
30-10.
Actually, was the favourite to take this one.
Yeah.
I just don't think
but that's fishing. That's fishing, Yep.
That is fishing.
Yeah,
Let's head over to Tom. Tom right now. Tom, mate. Are you there, Tom? Are you there, Tom?
Walking out the river, I think.
Oh yeah.
How about we try and cross over to Mark? Are you there, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Mark now. G'day, Mark. Unlucky, buddy. The fish obviously weren't there where you thought they were.
I'm alright.
They were there. The water. They were there. The water was just a wee bit.
I'm a big boy.
Get more colour to stuff.
It's very tough conditions.
Yeah, it was the water. The water was very. It wasn't. It didn't look as sturdy until I got into it, but it was tough enough there.
Well,
so it was fair play, Tom.
Did you? How many? We saw you drop a couple. Do you know how many you might have dropped, or?
Dropped 4 or 5. Just. No, I couldn't have. Probably could have got a few more fish if I started fishing that down across a wee bit earlier, but the conditions just weren't right. But fair play, Tom. You out fishing there big time.
You got any questions for him, Pete?
No, it's well done. Well done, Mark. Hard luck. I know, it's so frustrating when a river doesn't fish. It's nothing to do with the angler. And that's this competition myself and Dave Donovan talked about, that you're not really competing against the other angler in a certain sense. You're actually competing against the rivers. And if the rivers don't fish, nothing you can do about it. And it's fierce disappointing. I've been in Mark's shoes so many times. If the rivers don't fish, there's nothing you can do about it. But you slogged on and you met fish there, and well done. Hard luck.
Yeah. Well, I'll go hunt a few big fish now, I think.
Yeah, you got some crackers there. Yeah, you got some beautiful, lovely quality fish there. Yeah,
so
well done.
You'll be continuing your fishing today, mate, or?
No, maybe not today. I'll maybe leave it the next weekend. Just be a bit second after that now.
It was awesome to see you fishing, buddy, and thanks again for jumping in and giving it a crack.
No worries. Cheers, Chuck. Thank you.
Hopefully we see you in the future series also. And big thanks to Andrew on the camera as well. Thanks, buddy. If you guys just stay on the line, we'll cross over to Tom. Are you there, Tom?
Here he is.
G'day, mate. Congratulations.
I really did. Sorry, Marshall. Well done, buddy. I've broken a lot of fish. I've made a lot of good fish. I broke the last one.
Very
hard to hear, Tom, there. Windy conditions.
You okay now?
Yeah, that's better.
No, I just saying well done to Mark, but I didn't. I'm telling the truth. When I didn't think I'd get that many fish. I really didn't. But I've broken a lot of fish. I did a load of good fish. Very good fish. I've broken a double. Kept breaking. I don't know what the hell happened. But anyway, I'm delighted, and I'm sorry, Mark. You're a diamond geezer, but sorry. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to Tommy, my cameraman.
Sure, this is it.
Everyone who followed me. And, I feel
well
great
done, Tom. That was fantastic
awesome
angling, Tom, and in those conditions. to put up a score of 30 is top class. Well done. Really, really impressed with that. Definitely, you've shown your cards now, Tom. So you're the man. You're a marked man now, Tom. In the next round, let's say, and if you get further, so we'll be ready
if
for
I
you.
landed everything, Peter, I would have caught up to you. Trust me on that one.
Well, maybe if you meet me somewhere along the way, Tom, you'll need to land them all. Well done, well done. Top class angling in a really tough condition, Tom. Great score to put on the board.
Yeah, congrats again, Tom, and well done. It was great to see you fishing, and great effort, 30 fish in those conditions. Well, we'll thank you also, Peter. Thanks, mate, for jumping
No
on.
problem. Great to be on. Great to be on.
And we're looking forward to you coming up against Mark, the War on the Nor next week. So,
yeah, that's going to be a right belter. Hopefully the river fish as well, and there's going to be a lot of stake there. A lot of stake, not just to place in the semi-final, but a lot of pride on the line there now. And yeah,
nice. All right, thanks again, mate. Let's take a look at the table now. Table for round 2. It's getting interesting. Now, Tom now slots in there, and he will be playing the winner of the next match between Danny Sizik and Tom Beecher. So, and then we've got Sean Maher up the top there. He'll come up against the competitor, the highest losing competitor with the most numbers. So, at the moment, Dave Coughlin is in that position with 1 game to go. So, all comes down to this next match to see if Dave will stay in that position, or if one of these, or both competitors get over 42 fish, which is going to be tough. But if they can, they will knock Dave Coughlin out. But it's going to be very interesting. So stick around. Up next, we've got Danny Sizik from the USA up against Tom Beecher from Ireland, and an absolute belter coming up. So stick around, we're about 20 minutes away, and we'll see you very shortly. See you soon.